I was once married to a man named Adam. He wasn't the kind of man who made grand declarations or swept you off your feet with dramatic gestures. His love was quieter, gentler, something steady and unwavering. He loved the way a lighthouse stands firm in a storm, calm, dependable, always there. In his presence, I felt safe, seen, cherished without needing to ask. He never demanded much, just honesty, kindness, and a little time. And I gave him everything until I didn't. I broke it, not out of cruelty or anger, but confusion, selfishness, and a gnawing emptiness I couldn't name back then. I convinced myself I had fallen out of love, that our peaceful life had become too quiet, too still. I told myself that craving passion didn't make me ungrateful. It made me human. So I left. I walked away from a man who still looked at me like I hung the stars. I walked away from the warmth of our home, the routines we built, the quiet mornings filled with shared coffee and wordless comfort. I walked toward someone else. Someone who felt like chaos and excitement at a time when the world outside was unraveling from a pandemic. And so was I. His name was Jason. When Adam found out about the affair, I didn't lie. I couldn't. I sat across from him in our kitchen, the same kitchen where we used to sit in silence, reading or smiling at each other over pancakes. And I told him everything. I told him about Jason, about how I had emotionally left long before I ever packed a bag, about how I thought I was doing the right thing for both of us. Adam didn't scream. He didn't rage. He just looked at me with tearful eyes, nodded once, and said he hoped I found whatever I was searching for. Then he packed a few bags and left. He moved 2 hours away to a smaller town, closer to university where he could finish his PhD and start over. Our divorce was quiet, civil, an echo of the peace he always brought into everything. I thought I was doing the brave thing, the honest thing. I thought I would feel free. But there's no freedom in hurting someone who loved you so completely. There's only a quiet kind of guilt that clings to the corners of your life, surfacing in moments you least expect. Life with Jason moved fast. He had 3 kids from a previous relationship. Then we had a baby of our own, and suddenly everything was diapers and drop-offs, missed meals, and bone-deep exhaustion. I kept telling myself I was building something new, something meaningful, but cracks began to form, and they only widened with time. Still, I held on to the past in small ways. On Adam's birthdays, around holidays, or when I heard he completed his doctorate, I'd send him thoughtful messages, carefully chosen gifts, little signs that I remembered, that I still cared in some way. But he never replied. Not once. Not even a thank you. That silence hurt more than I ever admitted. Adam had always been the kind of man to send thank you notes for the smallest gesture. His silence was deliberate. And I knew I no longer had a place in his life. Then came the blow I never saw coming. Rachel had been my best friend since college. Brilliant, sharp, fiercely independent. We'd shared years of late-night phone calls, laughter, and secrets. She lived in the same city Adam had moved to, but we'd fallen out of regular touch, something that wasn't unusual for us. She'd go quiet when she was deep into work or in the early stages of a new romance. So when she stopped replying in late 2021, I didn't push. In the summer of the following year, Jason and I took a short trip to that city. I reached out to Rachel, left messages, called, even tried swinging by. Nothing. I figured she was just busy. Then, that October, I went back alone for a Halloween party, hosted by an old classmate. I needed a break from parenting, from marriage, from a life that was starting to feel like it belonged to someone else. Rachel was there, dressed as Cleopatra, radiant as always. But when I hugged her, she was stiff, her smile hollow. I tried calling you this summer. I said, trying to sound light. I was on my honeymoon, she replied coolly, sipping her drink. I blinked. Wait, what? You got married? She nodded. To who? I asked, but I already knew. My heart was already sinking. Adam. The world stopped. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. She didn't let me catch my breath. You don't get be angry, she said, her voice sharp but not cruel. You broke his heart. We didn't speak for almost 2 years after what you did. You left him for someone who felt exciting for a moment over someone who gave you everything. Her words didn't just hurt. They destroyed something in me. I don't remember much else from that night. Only the spinning of the room and the taste of wine I used to quiet the storm inside me. Rachel, my closest confidant, the one who knew every detail of my marriage, every ache and joy, had married a man I once planned a lifetime with. And she never told me. Not once. When I returned home, something cracked. I looked at Jason, at the life we'd made together, and it felt alien, foreign, like someone else's movie that I'd wandered into. I started pulling away. Spent late nights scrolling through old photos. Adam smiling at me, wrapped in a blanket. Cooking breakfast in our tiny kitchen. Memories I thought I'd buried came flooding back. Each one slicing deeper than the last. Jason noticed. He asked questions. I dodged, until one night he pressed, and I broke. I told him everything. About Rachel, about the wedding, about the hollow ache it left in me. He stared at me like he didn't recognize me. "You're acting like you were the one betrayed," he said quietly. "I didn't know," I said. "It's been all over social media," he replied. "You just didn't want to see it." That lit something in me. I screamed, accused him of keeping it from me, of letting me walk into that party unprepared. "You still love him," he said after the fight died down. "No, I don't," I snapped. "If you didn't," he said, "this wouldn't be tearing you apart." We fought until the sky lightened. The next morning I left, stayed with my parents for a while. But when I came back, the house felt colder, the silence thicker. "You're emotionally cheating," Jason said one evening. And honestly, that might be worse. I lashed out, saying he didn't understand because none of his relationships had ever been real, had never had that depth. I regretted it the second it left my mouth. But some words once said can't be undone. That night, I lay awake, haunted by everything, every decision, every moment I should have chosen differently, every whisper of a memory I had tried to suppress. I had mistaken peace for boredom, loyalty for routine. I had believed that love had to be wild to be real. But Adam had given me something rare, a love that asked nothing but gave everything. And now, Rachel has that love. She receives a thoughtful text, the quiet steadiness, the warmth that once wrapped itself around me like home. And I am left with silence, not the kind that burns with anger or lashes out in pain, but the kind that is final, the kind that comes when someone has truly moved on. I used to hope for closure, a conversation, a door left slightly ajar. But some endings don't offer that. Some endings are quiet. Some endings are you, standing in front of a door you close with your own hands, knowing it will never open again. Maybe that's what karma really looks like. Not dramatic punishment, just being gently, completely forgotten by the ones you can't forget.